I'm Vinnie Politan. The subject of my investigation is a missing mom from Virginia. Her name is Mamta Kafle, and she has a young child. And that little girl, as you watch the program tonight, I want you to keep in your mind that there's a little girl who doesn't have her mom. Here's her story. Mamta worked as a pediatric nurse at Prince William Medical Center. In August of 2023, Mamta gave birth to a baby girl, the first child of Mamta and Narish. And then Mamta went back to work. Early in 2024, there were some reported marital issues for the couple, and Mamta moved out of the house for a short while before returning. Then, on August 1st, when Mamta did not report to work and no one could contact her, co-workers asked for a welfare check to be done. Police went to the house, and eventually Mamta was officially declared as an involuntarily missing person. And now, her family, co-workers, and members of the community are wondering, what happened to Mamta? As always, people don't just vanish. Something happened. Now, people can voluntarily leave, but that's not the case here. Investigators believe that it's involuntary, meaning something happened. She did not want to leave, and that's why she's missing. Interesting, I want you to take a look here. WUSA 9 in Washington, D.C., covering the story, did an interview with Mamta's husband, and I want to read part of that to you. The reporter, talk to me about the last time you saw her. And then her husband says, in the evening of Wednesday, we were here and then we ate together, yes. The reporter says, what did she say? What was she like? The husband then says, we don't have like any type of that. It was like a normal day, like other regular days. Just, like taking care of our baby. It was like very normal. The reporter asked, did she say anything about leaving? And the husband, Naresh Bhatt, says, no. No. So he's saying that they ate dinner together on the 31st. She didn't say anything about leaving, and then she's gone. She's gone. So, big question when there's a missing person. It's usually the first question that you ask. And it's my first question tonight, which I think is important to understand. When was Mamta last seen? When and by whom? Like, where's the last proof that, oh, there's Mamta? Let me bring in my guest. Joining me, Nepalese journalist who interviewed Mamta's husband, mother, and brother, Sachi Manali is with us. Also with us, retired police commander and host of the Profiling Evil podcast, Mike King. Thank you both for being here. Sachi, I know you have really got a lot of information about this. So what do we know about people seeing Mamta and when the last time was that they saw her?
Thank you for having me. Actually, there are little bit of confusion, looks like, because when I asked his husband, when I interviewed Mamta's husband, he said July 31st is the night he saw her last. But when I interviewed Mamta's mother is back home in Nepal. So whenever it's like 28, if it's 28th July here, it's 29th morning there. If it's night, then it's morning there the next day. So she told me July 30th is the last day she talked to Mamta, and she used to talk to her 2-3 times a day in a video call.
Okay, well, let me make sure I'm clear on this. So Mamta would speak to her mother, who's in Nepal, overseas, but would speak to her 2 to 3 times every day?
Yes, they used to do the video calls, and she said that on the last day, her face was very gloomy. So as a mother, she asked what happened? Are you okay? Then Mamata said that everything is fine. And from what I'm hearing from all of her friends, childhood friends, even including her husband, Mamta never used to have a gloomy face, they said. Even the husband agreed to that. And she is highly inspirational. She never shares her things with other people because there is kind of stigma to it if other people know about our personal matters and they start talking about it. So she used to keep the information to herself. But there are very few people who she has talked to. Today only I found out that she has been talking about the troubled marriage. On June 24, she talked about her troubled marriage with one of her childhood friend. That information just came up this afternoon. That day she had a gloomy face, mother said, and when I asked Naresh about that, he said he has never seen her gloomy face.
Okay, Mike King as an investigator now. So getting some of this information, how do you determine the last time she was seen, and how do you verify if it's someone in the house, right? If it's the husband, how do you verify that she ate dinner with him that night? She didn't speak to her mom that day, and she speaks to her mom 2 or 3 times a day. So what do you do with that type of information to try to get to the truth here?
Well, I think this timeline's now coming together much clearer, and it's really nice having this guest on who can help us understand that there was another name in there. I'm sure law enforcement has that name and that discussion, or at least I would hope they do. So now we're starting to see the timeline starting to tighten up a little bit. The interesting thing to me, Vinny, is that we have this last day seen at work of the 27th of July here in the United States. So those are firm dates. We have now this idea that she was speaking to her mother possibly on the 30th, but we have a friend who spoke to her on the 28th. And then the husband who's saying, I've talked to her, or we had dinner with her on the 31st, and I went to bed. And there are so many interesting dynamics and red flags here that it's just making you really scratch your head. But the thing that you have to do as an investigator now is start putting those together and then corroborating them with other pieces of evidence. If it was a Skype call or something else, was it done on a mobile device? And can that mobile device be digitally analyzed to determine that that call was made? Or was it made some other way? And so there's got to be information to corroborate these little pieces and nuggets of information that are coming along to help tighten that timeline, because those are the things that are going to be needed to really understand people's testimony, the husbands, the friends, or anyone else who might have something to do with this woman.
All right, I wanted to put up on the screen something from the Washington Post, who did some investigating here as well. On July 31st, she did not call her mother in Nepal, as she had faithfully done every morning and evening to share the mundane, what she ate that day, and the significant, the milestones of her infant daughter was hitting, her brother said in an interview. On August 1st, co-workers called police when she missed the shift at the UVA Health Prince William Medical Center. Manassas Park police officer went to her house the next day to do a welfare check, but left after her husband declined to report her missing. The police department said in a news release the family still had not heard from her, said the brother, who described pleading with his brother-in-law on August 4th to call authorities. So it seems, Sachi, that the family and her husband, so her brother not necessarily seeing eye to eye with her husband at this moment about the significance of her not being around.
Actually, I have found many contradictory statements already. And today only I was told that the brother, because her mother is not that educated and she has confessed that, so mother might have given us the wrong date. It could be even one day earlier, because I came to know this afternoon. I have not got chance to contact his brother because it's early morning back there right now. So I came to know that actually the date was 29th morning. So I have to verify that after this program. Maybe I can verify that, and I have requested a screenshot of that call recording. So that we know which day exactly it is. But mother said in my interview, it's 30th of July.
Yeah, and Mike, how Does this get more complicated for investigators? Now, there's something else going on here, right? There's language differences. Obviously, she's speaking to her brother and her mother in their native language, I presume. You, as an investigator, have got to get all the information you can. How do you approach a case like this, where there may be some witnesses who may have some language issues and not even be living in the United States, but have important information?
Well, at that point, you're reaching out to your friends at Interpol, and you're getting someone locally to go and talk if you can. You're getting translators to help you with understanding, especially the written communication, or if there's a recorded communication somewhere. And you're trying to lean upon all of, again, everything we're talking about keeps going back to what do you have that you can corroborate and really start dialing down when she disappeared. Because now, if in fact this information's correct, Vinnie, we have a bigger window of probably 2 days that she could have disappeared. So then as you go back and you look at mobile phone records, her mobile phone, if she's been given one for easy access, his mobile phone, the husband's, what's going on in the neighborhood. We have to take into account the cultural differences and the things that might be kept quiet in that Nepali culture that maybe would be more openly talked about in a U.S. dynamic culture, whether these were arranged marriages or love marriages through the Nepali customs. All of those things are going to really play an important part in understanding. And this is where it's so important that we really focus in on victimology and suspectology.
Absolutely. Guests staying with us. Coming up next, why wasn't Mamta reported missing on August 2nd?
On August 2nd, officers responded to Mamta Kafle's residence for a check on her welfare and spoke to her husband, Mr. Bhatt, who at that time provided additional information and did not want to report her missing.
Was a reporter brutally murdered for digging too deep?
His death was absolutely devastating.
The suspect, a former politician and subject of the victim's story on corruption.
Can you tell us anything?
Now will Robert tell us go from elected official to convicted killer?
Once all the evidence comes out, it'll be clear as day.
Is it possible that bad press is a motive for murder?
The investigative reporter murder trial. Live coverage weekday mornings on Court TV.
She's a person, she would not run away, and she does not do self-harm for herself.
She wouldn't run away. She wouldn't leave her baby, her young child. We're talking about Mamta Kafle, pediatric nurse and a missing mom of a young child. So this case, I think, is really building up in terms of intensity of the community now getting involved in searching, and intensity of the investigation by law enforcement. I want you to take a listen here to a missing person update. This is from the Manassas Park Police.
On August 2nd, officers responded to Mamta Kafle's residence for a check on her welfare and spoke to her husband, Mr. Bhatt, who at that time provided additional information and did not want to report her missing. On August 5th, Mr. Bhatt contacted the police station and reported Mamta Kafle as missing. Between August 5th and 8th, detectives conducted an extensive investigation and found that there was significant lack of recent contact by Mamta with her family, friends, employer, and on social media postings. Given this and other circumstances, detectives were able to elevate her missing person status to involuntary/critical missing person. July 27th, Mamta was last seen at UVA Health Prince William Medical Center. On July 28th, Mamta spoke to a friend. On July 31st, Mamta was last seen by her husband.
Okay, let's think about the timeline now. Last seen by her husband on July 31st, then there's August 1st, and then August 2nd is when police come to the house to do a wellness check. Which brings me to my next question in this case, and it has to do with that wellness check. Why wasn't Mamta reported missing on August 2nd? 2 days away from her husband, 2 days away from her little baby. Still with me, Sachi Manali and Mike King. Sachi, from your investigation here, what is the reasoning behind 2 days she's gone and her husband doesn't want to report her missing?
I must tell you this, that before I talk to you, I didn't give enough time to transcribe everything. But let me start like this. After talking to Naresh and Mamta's family, there are so many contradictory statements. Naresh, whatever statement Naresh made, I have a proof that is not true already, And Naresh reported on 5th of August after being pressured by Mamta's family and her cousin who lives in New York. He didn't report by himself. Mamta's mother called him, repeatedly from Nepal, but he did not pick up the phone on August 3rd. And then I don't know when he replied back. I have to get that timings because I have not collected that yet. But he did not pick up the phone till August 3rd. And then after that, he called back because they were desperate to know the whereabouts of Mamta, but he didn't pick up the phone. And from there, they started contacting the cousin who lives in New York. And that cousin actually texted Naresh asking how Mamta is doing. And then I can read that text to you here, which is in front of me. I had printed the text. On August 2nd, they started chatting. Actually, they have a long chat. They started chatting from August 2nd, asking the whereabouts of Mamta. And then on August, what is interesting is on August 4th, on August 4th, the information that Naresh gave to her is quite concerning because till now, I have not followed the mainstream media because I'm working tirelessly in the group, in a campaign to find Mamta. That's why I have not been able to focus that. But what Naresh told in my show was their relationship was extraordinarily nice. They don't even argue. They don't do anything. But Naresh likes to fight or argue sometimes. But Mamta didn't even used to do that. And he tried to explain it as extraordinarily wonderful or extraordinarily nice. And on August 4th, the lady, she's not her, the Naresh texts her saying she's not at her work. She might be at her apartment. It's amongst all other texts. And August 4th at 12:32 a.m., the cousin asked Naresh, did you guys have fight again? Naresh writes, no, we decided to separate with respect. No any discussion at all. Even we don't argue. She wanted to move either New York or Texas. Naresh has been saying that their relationship is extraordinarily wonderful, nice. They even watch TV, used to watch TV once a week together. They don't even argue. He likes Mamta to comment on him sometimes, but she's not even doing that. Whereas after her missing on August 4th, even before reporting, formally to the police, he says, no, we decided to separate with respect.
Wow.
So here, I asked her mother. I was about to talk to her, and then I said, did anyone threaten you or, bribe you or something to come to this interview? She said, I'll read that to you. I didn't have much time to transcribe, but I have a gist of it. She said they have a tea shop in Nepal. They keep on telling that our son-in-law knows everything. She cried, mentioning that I am very worried for my daughter, whether I can see her or not. So I came to this show myself. Even before I asked the question, she started telling everything, that her husband, my son-in-law, had done physical abuse to my daughter earlier as well in last February. But I was in touch with my daughter, even when 2 times she was out of the house. She stayed with a friend for a week or so, and after that, she moved to an apartment for 8 to 9 days. But that time, her in-laws knew, her husband knew, her
Everyone
parents,
knew. This
everybody
time,
knew about that.
wow. Sachi,
Everyone
this
knew.
is huge. This is huge.
This time,
Let me
yeah.
just cut you off for a
This
second.
time,
I just have to
no
cut you
one-
off for a second.
yeah.
We're looking at pictures from WUSA, a search of the marital home. I just want to bring Mike King in just to get a little reaction to all these major developments that you are reporting for us. Mike, what are your thoughts here? A potential statement by the husband that they had separated on the 4th before he reports her missing on the 5th. That makes no sense.
Yeah, this whole thing, again, like I said earlier, is so filled with red flags. The idea that there's past behavior that, as we've said before on this show, is always predictive of future behavior, that this domestic violence cycle that occurs is a true thing and a real principle, and that it can lead to domestic violence homicide. Now, whether that's the case in this situation or this woman had some emotional break and had to leave the area, we don't know, Vinny. But with the things that are happening with a child birthday and
it's all about
the importance of being a mother, it just doesn't fit, does it?
No, it doesn't. All right, Sachi Manali and Mike King, unreal developments here. All right, folks, we got more. I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues. I'm Vinnie Politan as we continue our investigation of missing mom Mamta Kafle from Virginia. I want you to keep this in mind. This woman chose to be a pediatric nurse, and she's a young mother of a young child. Here's her story. Mamta Kafle came to the U.S. from Nepal in 2021. She worked as a pediatric nurse and married a man named Naresh Bhatt. They lived on a beautiful, quiet cul-de-sac in Manassas Park, Virginia. In 2023, they welcomed their first child into the world, a beautiful baby girl. But close to a year later, Mamta vanished, missing seemingly without a trace. And now her family, her co-workers, and the community are coming together to help find Mamta. So whenever you cover a story like this or investigate a case like this, the focus is always on those closest to the missing person, right? Because they will have the most information and the most interaction with the missing person. And obviously, you want to get information from them, and you also want to potentially clear them as a suspect if there is any foul play involved. Now, take a look. This is from the Washington Post report and investigation they did. Accounts of the couple's relationship from Mamta Bhatt's brother and 2 friends, as well as her own posts in a private Facebook group, reflect turbulence that prompted her to leave the home at least once in February. Kafle, as well as friends Ashish Sangrula and Sarita Nupane, said the couple had a disagreement that then resulted in Bhatt staying with Nupane for a week. It was not clear what caused the strain. Nupane said that the couple had an arranged marriage in 2020 and that Mamta Bhatt immigrated to the United States in 2021. This is an important part of this story. A missing wife, a missing mother. What's going on behind closed doors in the 4 walls of their beautiful home in Manassas, Virginia? That brings me to our next question. in this investigation. What was the status of their marriage? Were they happy? Were they separated? Was there domestic violence? Joining me, Nepalese journalist who interviewed Mamta's husband, Mamta's mother and brother, Sachi Manali is with us. Also joining us, private investigator, founder of Victim News Online, Erica Morse. Sachi, let me begin with you. First, was this an arranged marriage, number one? And number two, what was the status of this marriage? Were they happy? Were they fighting? Were there separations? Were there disagreements? What do we know?
As I have come to know that, because I never knew Mamta, so as I've come to know from their parents, I'm in direct contact with them. And as I have come to know from their parent, her mother keeps on saying, and she has said that in this video as well, what he did, how he did, my son-in-law knows everything, but he does not open up. So, and Naresh has been saying that their relationship was extraordinarily, well. They don't even argue, but his own text message that I have received, which I have printed here, suggests that that was not the case, because Naresh has written on August 4th, that is after the disappearance of Mamta, did you guys have fight again? He has said no. We decided to separate with respect. And in other medias, including my media, Naresh had said that my relationship was so good. If it was good, then why is he even mentioning on August 4, 12:32 a.m. that they decided to separate with respect, no any discussion at all? And even they don't argue. So that's the question. So we don't know, but Naresh's two statements are contradictory here. This alone actually contradicts with his previous all statements.
Oh, absolutely. Erica Morse, to me, the biggest part of this investigation is finding out what's going on behind closed doors. And when you're getting mixed messages, contradictory statements from the father of the baby, from her husband, that's problematic.
It is very problematic. And I actually caught in an interview that he did that even though he talked about it was such a great and normal night, and I think Wednesday, the 31st, is what they should be focused on based on his statements in that interview. But then he slipped at one point and he said, just come home, we can fix it. And I caught that and I went, let me wait for the reports of the DV to start coming out. And then I saw an interview with one of her friends that talked about on the 28th, she had several missed phone calls from her. And then that she was texting that friend, begging her to come over to the house. So I think there was a buildup taking place, and I think we're starting to learn more about maybe a potential explosion or an argument that went awry.
Okay, this is from the Washington Post, and we've been talking about this. Mamta and her baby arrived at New Payne's home in February. Now, this is a friend without money, a car, or a working phone. She said, so New Payne bought her a used phone and added her to her family's phone plan to ensure she could coordinate ride-share trips to her shifts at the hospital. New Payne said at one point, Mamta briefly had her own apartment in Falls Church. In an interview with WUSA 9, the husband, Naresh Bhatt, cited this as a reason he did not immediately report her missing, saying she had gone missing 3 times before. At that time, she has some demands, so that's why she just stepped out and stayed with a couple of times with her friends. And one time she moved to Falls Church to someone, I don't know the name, but she has an apartment. This is what Naresh Bhatt told the reporter, according to WUSA 9. So, Sachi, as I'm looking at this, it appears that at some point she does leave the home, but I believe she left the home with her baby. This time she's gone without the baby. That's a big difference.
Actually, when she initially left, I think it was as the lady has told me, her friend, it was just for a week that she stayed with her, and 8 to 9 days she stayed in that apartment with some other Nepali family. That's what they have told me. And what is what is really, what makes really you to scratch your head is previously, everybody knew where Mamta was, including Naresh, in-laws, mother, brother, everybody. In my interview with Naresh, her brother, Mamta's brother, has commented saying, why didn't you notify me? And they had to beg from back home to repeatedly, trying to know Mamta's whereabouts. So this time, nobody knows.
Erica, I want to put...
it's like very different story from before.
Absolutely. Completely different. There's not the communication. There's not the baby going with her. This is also from the Washington Post. Posts from Mamta's Facebook account began appearing in a closed group for single mothers in the DMV area asking for help. In posts on February 6th and the 16th, Mamta's account seeks advice from the group on navigating a separation and retaining custody of her baby. In follow-up comments, she appears to post about being new to the United States, unsure of where to go for legal help, and worried about money. Erica Morse, couple things here. Number one, when she left before, everyone knew where she was, and she apparently had her baby with her. This time she leaves, no one knows where she is, and she doesn't have the baby. That is a different circumstance, and it seems, at least in February, it is possible that she was looking for a way out of this relationship.
This is a woman planning an exit strategy. And as we know, Vinnie, that is also the most dangerous time in a woman's life, is when she's planning to walk away. Now, the one thing I will say is that law enforcement is being very closed-lipped about this. And there is a possibility here that she escaped and got to a DV shelter. And if that is the case, law enforcement will do their due diligence, and we may not necessarily know the outcome for privacy reasons. So I am encouraged, considering they're talking about hope and they're talking about everybody remaining positive, because that is a potential resolution to this case that we must consider.
Absolutely. I think everything's on the table. And if you go to a DV shelter, things remain anonymous. You don't want anyone to know where you are if you feel like you are in danger. That's part of that. Sachi, let me ask you some questions. Do we know if she had access to a vehicle, like a car, to get away? Or if she left on her own, would she have to get a ride or walk?
I came to know even from the husband that she used to call Uber for her work. She did not have a car. And in one question, I asked him, you said that you went to search for her and then just looked from outside in a friend's house between August 1st and the 5th. August 1st, he said, he went there, he looked from outside, and then said that Mamta is not there, and then he came back. I said, well, how do you know that she was not there? Because she doesn't drive a car. That means her car was not there in a driveway or parked outside. So how do you know that? He said that, well, that friend's house is transparent. I just saw from outside that Mamta is not there, and I returned home on August 1st. And I asked him, why didn't you call the police then? He said, she used to go for work like for a couple of days earlier. I then told, well, that was the time when you had a fight, but your relationship is extraordinarily nice, wonderful at this time. Why should she go? Were we expecting her to go somewhere? He said no. I asked him, was she scheduled to come home that night? He said yes. Well, then how could you sleep without even reporting to the police? Wow. You know, he said, well, I put my baby to sleep and something, and then I went to sleep. Okay, then was she there on August 2nd morning? He said, no, she was not there. Why didn't you report then? He said that, well, that was not like, I was not serious by that time. And I asked him, what happened when the police came? He explained that. And then I said, did you file the report then? Then he said that, well, I told the police that she used to go earlier as well, like this. And I told all the stories. Then police say that, well, then you searched her till you get exhausted. And once you are exhausted, call us. You know, once you see that you can't find her anywhere, then call us. I then ask, like in different questions, I then ask him, where did you search her? Maybe he said one place. And I said, does it take so long, so many days to search in one place? The place where you went on August 1st, you already went there, right? So it doesn't make sense. And then when I asked that about August 1st, he was out of the camera because it was Facebook Live. And then he said, baby is crying. Well, when I revisited this just before talking to you, I didn't hear baby crying. Then I put like really that, device to my ear. I don't hear baby crying. He goes to the room. And then I don't think I have mistaken that. He goes to the room, camera turns to, and he was trying to mute the camera. I said, well, this is a live session. Just turn the camera on. It's okay. People will see your natural life. Just try to be natural. That's what I told him earlier as well. So he goes to the room. We don't hear even any baby crying sound. The camera goes face towards the wall or the ceiling, and then baby cries.
Of course.
He lifts up the baby, and then you will know when you watch that.
Absolutely. Satya Manali, we're out of time for now, but we really appreciate your insight. Great reporting. Erica's going to stay with us. Still to come, how does this case get solved?
One of the most successful true crime TV shows ever.
This is crazy.
Now has a new home on America's original true crime obsession, 48 Hours on Court TV. Coming up next on Court TV. This week.
What to know before the day's proceedings in the investigative reporter murder trial. Plus, a deeper dive into the big trials coming up with our daily spotlight.
Opening statements with Julie Grant. Mornings at 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
Okay, this is a case involving a mom of a young child who's missing. They live in a beautiful neighborhood. I want you to take a look at the area. I have a few maps to show you here because I think it's important. I think it's significant that we figure out exactly what we're talking about here. So take a look first at the house in the cul-de-sac, okay? We've seen areas like this throughout the country. This is Northern Virginia. Northern Virginia is beautiful. Not cheap either, folks, by the way. But let's pull the map out just a little bit. So I want to give you a better idea. Oh, look at all that green space to the right. I think you may have a country club somewhere in there. You may have a shooting range in there somewhere. You've got some trails and a whole lot of trees. Let's pull it out a little bit further. I said it's Northern Virginia, so yeah, you've got water as well. So, you put the timeline here's a little bit vague. Give someone time for something bad could potentially happen. So that brings me to my next question, which is, how does this case get solved? How do you figure out where Mamta is and what happened to Mamta? Still with me, private investigator Erica Morse, and joining us, private investigator Jason Jensen. All right, Jason, how does this case get solved?
Well, it seems like from the latest updates that we are hearing is that law enforcement is working the home, probably executing a warrant. So that's always a good sign that they're going to either clear the husband, go through digital devices, try and figure out if there's some way to corroborate allegations, accusations, or whatnot so that they can move on. If it's something to do with the husband, you know, this kind of is reminiscent to like latest coverage of like Scott Peterson and Lacey Peterson. If this is a death and a concealment, they're hoping to get some information to corroborate that. If there's blood stains at the house that were cleaned up, if there is any kind of digital footprint showing a obscure water area that he may have traveled to, that's all going to be important.
These images from WUSA 9 in the area, and you take a look, and one of the things I noticed, Erica Morse, you see the yellow tape. They call that crime scene tape, don't they? You've got an evidence van in the driveway, and then you've got some other cars there, people walking in and out of the house. What are your thoughts, Erica, about what you're looking for in that house, what you could find in that house?
Unfortunately, that is called crime scene tape, and that's not necessarily a good sign because that's indicative that they believe a crime transpired in that location. So as Jason said, they're going to be looking for digital devices. She maybe didn't have a phone, it sounds like, or was borrowing a phone from a friend. They're going to be looking for evidence of a struggle. They're going to be looking for things like furniture missing. Is bedding missing? Are sheets missing? Is there evidence of something being cleaned up recently or recent bleach in a specific area of the house? And then they're going to lean on the husband. If I were law enforcement, I'd be pushing him to take a polygraph. That way we can rule him in or rule him out. But the crime scene tape around the house, not necessarily a good sign.
You know, Jason, every time someone is missing and there's a wooded area near the house, I say that's the area that you've got to hit first in a search. You've got to search that area. How many times have we seen that someone who is missing is somewhere near the closest wooded area to their home?
Oh, exactly. In fact, I've even heard Erica say within a mile of the last place where the missing was seen is a prime area to search first, because it's oftentimes the closest area where they're going to try and ditch a body, because, you know, there's easy explanation, went for a walk, something happened while they were at a local walk, or they're looking for a place that they're comfortable with, that they're familiar with to dump a body, as opposed to go to some foreign area where they could be caught. So, yeah, close to home is often the place that they pick.
And you back up to a vast wooded area, even if she's wandering out on her own, that could be a place where she could go. Erica, let me ask you this. I'm asking, how does this case get solved? What are your thoughts about the chances of this case being solved?
I think the chances are as good as Maya Miglietti, just plain and simple, because the two cases are so similar. And I bring that up because of the daughter's birthday, Vinny. Here we are again, a mother missing her daughter's birthday. I'm not buying it. So either this woman ran for her life in a moment of actual escape, and she felt that was her only time to flee and did so without her baby because it was that dangerous, or they're treating that like a crime scene for a reason, and they're going to have to expedite, finding her, and that's why they have all these searchers.
Erica Morse, Jason Jensen, thank you so much. Mamta is a mom. Mamta is also a pediatric nurse. I'm having a real hard time thinking that there's any chance that she voluntarily left her baby behind. I'm just not buying it. Something happened, and hopefully investigators find the evidence that lead to an answer for that little baby. I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues.